Happy Friday to ya. Happy Friday to ya. Happy Friday. Hi, it's Friday. It is the island at the end of everything. Reading time. Okay, let's have a look at what we're doing today. Okay. Session 15. To make inferences from the text and to justify them with evidence. So, we are all doing the same task, and here's a bit of guided practice. So we've got the next bit of the text, starting from you sit and clutch your bundle of things from home, and we're going to be thinking about what all of those words mean. What do we learn from it? Okay, so lots of tying lots of skills together that we've done throughout the weeks, lots of practice at the same skills as well, because these are our most important skills. Understanding what we've read and then interpreting how that gives us a deeper meaning and picture of the characters involved. So, you sit and clutch your bundle of things from home, what you saved before it was burned. Clothes, a doll, some books, letters from your mother. Somehow it is always dusk when you approach. The island changes from a dark dot to a green heaven on the horizon. High on a cross-topped cliff that slopes towards the sea is a field of white flowers looping strangely. So, carrying on. It's not until you're closer that you see that it forms the shape of an eagle, and it's not until you're very close that you see it's made of stones. This is when your heart hardens in your chest like petals turning to pebbles. Nane says the white eagle's meaning is known across all the surrounding islands, even all of the places outside our sea. It means stay away, do not come here unless you have no choice. So, this is what we need to be doing today. So we've done this so much in the past few weeks. It's one of the biggest skills that we can use, because whenever you read anything, as I've said to you a million times before, you need to be doing this ping, ping, ping in your head. So when I read the words, you sit and clutch your bundle of things from home, what I am thinking is the writer's holding some of their belongings tightly. They don't want to let them go. So I've learned that about there. It doesn't say that in the text, but my inference tells me that. So what you saved before it was burned. So I've got this bit. The belongings came from the writer's house. They saw their house being burned, and in their panic, they ran inside to collect important belongings. Now, those important belongings were clothes, a doll, some books, and letters from their mother. Now, what I infer from this is that if someone ran into their house when it was burning and was able to collect clothes and a doll, then it tells me that whoever this is old enough to know that they're going to need some clothes, but they're also young enough to still collect a doll for comfort. We talked about this a little bit before, about how maybe like your kind of age, you would, if you were alone and you had to run into your house, you'd grab something that meant a lot to you, but you might also bring some practical things as well, and that is what our writer has done. They also picked up letters from their mother. Now you can see, boom, got a big amount to say about that. So there are a few things that I learned from that. Letters tells me there's more than one. So it tells me that these letters have been sent for possibly quite a period of time now. They're from their mother, which is strange considering that we would have probably assumed that they had, either a relationship with their mother where they lived with their mother or where they saw their mother regularly. But letters would only be sent if there wasn't that face-to-face contact. So that tells me that there's probably not face-to-face contact between the writer and their mother. So they probably don't live together. But then if I go even deeper on that, then I could say, well, maybe they don't live together, but maybe actually the mother is dead as well. Maybe that's why these are so important now to this writer, because they're the only thing of their mother that they've got left. So we don't know at this point. We know that the writer said that her mother is on the island, but we also know that the island is covered in a graveyard. So is the mother actually one of the people that is buried in that graveyard? So, the writer communicates, or communicated if the mother is dead, with their mother through letters. The writer wanted to keep these so badly that they ran into the burning building to save them. They risked their life to get these letters, everyone. So this shows how precious they are. The reason as well that they've put letters from your mother at the end is because that's really the most important thing. It's clothes, the doll, some books, but really it's those letters from your mother. Boom, for impact. So there are multiple letters that are of extreme importance to them, and it suggests that the writer doesn't see their mother anymore. Oh dear, deep. Right, somehow it's always dusk when you approach. So everybody who's ever come to this island gets there as the daylight is starting to fade. But this is a metaphor for how they feel. If we're going for that light and dark contrast as we did earlier on in the week, think about the fact that once again we're talking about the light is going away. And if light is a metaphor for hope and for positivity, and darkness is a metaphor for despair and that negative pessimistic feeling, then this is again another sense of showing that things are just going to get worse for our characters when they get to this island. Now the island changes from a dark dot to a green heaven on the horizon. So it tells me that they were so far away, they had to travel for so long, and then when they finally get there, this island is huge and it's a heaven, it's a paradise, and it spans the entire horizon. So even though these people know that the island looks like, you know, they're going away from their homes, at this point, maybe they don't know. And I'm inclined to think they don't know what this island is yet. And I'll tell you why in a moment. So they see first that there are loads of graves on there, but it doesn't seem to terrify them too much. They also see these weird white flowers. But what gets me, the reason why I think they don't know which island they're going to until they get there, is because it says their heart hardens in their chest when they see the white eagle. So they travel and they see this dark dot and they get close and they think, do you know what? Yes, my house has been burnt. Yes, everything I own has been destroyed. Yes, I'm in so much pain, but my goodness, have I been brought to this beautiful place. You know, maybe it's not so bad after all. And just as they're starting to feel like, I feel really sad, but, you know, I've got this beautiful island to live on, maybe it's not too bad, they see, boom, this white eagle, and that's when they feel like a stab in the chest. It hits them like a smack in the face. Oh my goodness, I know where I am now. And that's because this white eagle has such a bad reputation. Everybody knows what the white eagle means. There are so many islands and this is the only one with the white eagle, and it does mean go away, don't come here, this is not the place you want to be. Oh, and it's really sad. People are just forced to come there, and that's when they realise this is it, I'm never coming away from this island, I will be one of those graves. Oh my goodness, so sad. Right, so that's the guided practice. So obviously I talked a lot there, but you've got all of the little small snippets written there on the screen for you to kind of magpie. You can take things from what I've said as well, and there might be, as there always is, one of you will think of something that I've not thought of. So please, I just can't wait to see what that is when I read your work. Please write down everything around those different lines there. Okay, so your resource, if you're on paper, you just jot it around like I've done. If you're on Teams, you just type in the spaces like I've done too. So you're going to pause the video to do your guided practice now, because you are magpieing my ideas and adding to them. So you must do your guided practice before you press play. So guided practice time. Let's get some stuff down. Pause. Right, so you've done your guided practice, and I'll be really glad to see if you've added anything that I haven't. And it's independent practice time now. And we're all doing the same as I said before, so let's take a look at what the text is. The day is dropping to dark as you come into the harbour. When you step from the boat, the stars are setting out their little lights. Someone will be there to greet you. They understand. The men who brought you here leave straight away, though they are tired. They have not spoken to you in the days or the hours that you spent with them. The splash of oars fades to the sound of waves lapping the beach. They will burn the boat when they get back, as they did your house. You look at the person who greeted you. You are changed now. You're like flowers into stones, like day into night. You will always be heavier, darkened, marked, touched. Okay, so you're going to have a go now at this section, and there's another little section, I think, for you to look at as well. Yes, Nane says that in the places outside, they have names for our home. The island of the living dead, the island of no return, the island at the end of everything. And this bit, this next bit, you've never read this before. It gives me goosebumps. It gives me goosebumps. And when I read it, it makes me feel like, oh my gosh, I feel my eyes tingling. It just, oh, it's brilliant. So I'll read it all again because I had a bit of a moment there, a Mrs. T moment, didn't I? You all know what I'm like when it comes to reading. And this is one of my favourite books. It's just powerful. So Nane says that in the places outside they have many names for our home. The island of the living dead, the island of no return, the island at the end of everything. You are on Cullion, where the oceans are blue, as clear as summer skies. Cullion, where turtles dig the beaches and trees brim with fruit. Cullion, island of lepers. Welcome home. Dun, dun, dun! Oh my gosh! Now, if you don't know what lepers are, it's not really a nice term. It's not a term that we use anymore, and it's not really a term that applies to that many people. But a long time ago, like 100 years ago or so, even, you know what, it still is around now, so I can't even say it's that far, but basically it's a bacterial disease that eats away at the skin. And it tends to affect the more outer extremities, so people's noses, people's ears, people's fingers. It's not something that is pleasant at all for the people that suffer from it, and it isn't widespread or necessarily that contagious. It's just bacterial, and now we know why these people have been sent there. All of these people have been sent there because they have a condition called leprosy, and they've all been sent there to die, so that the disease dies out. How awful is that? It's like saying, obviously in our current circumstances, like saying anyone who had COVID would have to go away to live on an island and just be left there to die. Doesn't mean that they're any less of a person. I feel very passionate about this because this book is about discrimination towards other people, and we know that happens today. Connecting to the Black Lives Matter movement, thinking about the kind of discrimination that people who are gay that they face, that people who are transgender, transsexual that they face. You know, it happens now today, and this is an example of it, and this book deals with this island and what goes on it, and it is just powerful, and it always makes me sad because this says that you are on Cullion, so that's the actual name of the island, where the oceans are blue and as clear as summer skies. You are on Cullion, where sea turtles dig at the beaches and trees brim with fruit. But all anyone cares about in reality is Cullion, island of lepers. Welcome home. It's not your home. It shouldn't be your home just because you have leprosy too. It's not right, is it, to bundle a group of people together because they have one thing similar, and then forget about all of their differences that make them human. Anyway, went on a Mrs. T tangent there about the book. Told you, passionate about this book, as is Miss Clarkson, as is Mrs. Crosby. Why it's our class read for year 6, because it's wonderful. So independent practice now. I want you to think about what all of those phrases mean, and then you've heard a little bit, so I did a little bit guided. Sorry, guys. But press play when you're ready to find out the answers. If you're stuck on it, you can just carry on going with the video, but I want to see the purple pen. So pause now, press play when you're ready. Okay, the day is dropping to dark as you come into the harbour tells us that the boat pulls up at the island as night is falling. When you step from the boat, the stars are setting out their little lights, so the stars are starting to shine, and the person who's on this boat still appreciates the beauty of the nature. They're still looking around and noticing the stars. Someone will be there to greet you. They understand. So someone who has been through the same thing is waiting there because they know how it feels. We now know that whoever is waiting on the island has leprosy, and whoever is getting off the boat also has leprosy. The men who brought you here leave straight away. Now we know that they don't want any more time with these people. They'd rather be exhausted than rest near these people, and now we can infer that that's because they are terrified of catching leprosy. That's why they burn things. That's why they stuff their cloths that cover their mouths full of herbs. That's why they'd let people die rather than touch them, because they're terrified that they're going to end up with leprosy too. Okay, so they've not spoken to you in the days or the hours that you spent with them. So the men just don't want to spend any time. They don't want to even treat these people like humans. And I'm really mad at this because these men are obviously terrified of leprosy. At this point in time, people didn't realise that it wasn't contagious. They thought that it was. So I can understand that because we're all in this COVID situation now where we know it's contagious. So we're all scared a little bit and we all want to protect ourselves. But what I don't understand is why these men do not speak to these people. And the reason why they don't is because they just think that these people are no longer people. They're treating them as they're seeing them as living dead. They're seeing them as, well, you're going to die anyway. You're not really there anymore. Why should I invest any time in you? It's awful. It's cruel. It's discriminatory. The splash of oars fades to the sound of waves lapping the beach. So the men are rowing so quickly and forcefully that you can hear the splashing for a while, but eventually the just gentle sound of the waves is all you can hear. So they are the same men that destroyed your house. And they're going to destroy the boat. So they destroy anything that these people touch. Okay, they probably burn their own clothes as soon as they get back. They'll burn the masks, they'll burn the herbs. They're not going to risk touching anything that these people have come into contact with. Now, you look at the person who greeted you, it tells me that they're seeking comfort and reassurance. You know that when you are scared or nervous or in any way, anything that's not a positive feeling, you look to someone close to you that you care for or cares for you, and you just want to look at them. You want that reassurance, even if it's just a glance. Sometimes it's all you need, isn't it? And that's what these people who are now strangers and only brought together because they've got leprosy, they do, because they realise they've got to act like family to one another because no one else is going to look out for them. You are changed now. You've realised now that you're there because you have leprosy, and that you're there because you're being shoved away because you don't deserve to live with other people, according to the people who instruct the men. You're like flowers into stones. You're no longer alive. You feel like you're dead. You're like day into night. You're no longer positive. You feel depressed. You will always be heavier. Now you're carrying around that in your head. You've got a death sentence on you, don't you? You know people want you to go there to die, and that's what the heaviness is. You carry that around. You're darkened. You're darkened because you're depressed. You're marked because someone has put a label on you. And now the word touched comes up a lot inside of this book, and basically you don't know this yet, but I'll give you some context. Touch doesn't mean that somebody's put their finger on you. What they're saying is that if you have leprosy, the word that the people on the island use for it is you are touched by leprosy. Not physically, but metaphorically touched. Okay, and they're changed forever. So then we had Nane says that in the places outside they've got many names for our home: the island of the living dead, the island of no return, the island at the end of everything. And you've already heard loads about what I had to say on this front. But basically, everybody talks about this home. All the people coming there to die. And although Cullion is the most beautiful, gorgeous place in the world, it is a place where people with leprosy are sent to die. And you are expected to just be happy with it. And that welcome home is said really sarcastically. So it's not like, welcome home, brilliant, we're so glad to see you. It's a case of like, welcome home, you've got no choice, this is your home now, you're gonna have to just get on with it. So really, really sad there. Question time. Right then, so the question I want you to think about is, why are the men behaving in this way? More importantly though, do you blame the men or are you angry at the men? So I want you to think about it all. Can you justify why the men have acted like this? What is it that's caused them to behave in this way? So I want you to just think a little bit deeper, because we don't really hear anything else about these men in this paragraph, in this chapter. I want to know what your opinion is. Right then. Post it in the reading channel when you have an answer, and make sure you have purple penned or purple fonted everything before you hand it in. And next week we will read this book for pleasure before starting our next unit. Okay,